What's up, fam? Helldivers dropped a crazy update with a ton of new patches, nerfs, buffs, and a lot of bugs fixed. So let's just get right into it. So first off, let's go ahead and knock these out. Yo, the armors, the anything with a rating above 100 now has reduced damage on headshots. I think that is huge. I'm gonna try and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm gonna try and use the light armor with anything close to 100, or a medium armor with the same perks as like an engineering kit that has a lot of grenades with it. But I'll get back to that. Victory poses will now only play for extractions. That's crazy, but I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, right? This one kind of stings a little bit. The exploding crossbow, it's another weapon that I really like. Increased stagger, decreased number of maximum mags from 12 to 8, and increased number of magazines received from resupply from 6 to 8. It is what it is. I mean, I think people are going to definitely feel the smaller explosion. It was one of the best AoEs in terms of a primary weapon in the game, besides the Eruptor and the Scorcher, but still not bad. The Laz 99 Quasar Cannon, that one really hits in the feels. I'm not even going to lie about that. I mean, increased recharge time by 5 seconds. It was already like a 4 to 5 second recharge, and now it's going to be 10 seconds. But hey, as long as they didn't decrease the damage output, you know what, I could still make do with it. But I might end up going back to switching to the Eats or the recoilless rifle, but we'll see. The Adjudicator full auto is now the default fire mode, and there's reduced recoil. I think a lot more people might be using the Adjudicator now. Increased number of magazines received from resupply from 6 to 8, and maximum mags is from 6 to 8. You know what? We might have to go ahead and try out the Adjudicator and see how good it can do. So the laser cannon has slightly increased damage. I think a lot of people might start swapping over to that instead of the Quasar to see what happens. Slightly reduced damage versus large volume bodies. We'll see how it affects, especially heavy tanks or maybe Hulks. We'll see what happens. The Punisher Plasma. I'm surprised none of these buffs or nerfs, or I guess whatever you want to call them, really affect the damage output or the shot of the actual bullet itself when you shoot it. I guess bullet, charge, however you want to call it. It's a plasma gun. But decreased damage fall off on the explosion. So I'm curious to see how that affects maybe how you shoot it at range versus close range. And I'm curious how it's going to affect the AoE damage. The Arc 12 Blitzer. Increased shots per minute from 30 to 45. That'll be decent. And then now placed in the energy weapons category. That doesn't really have anything to do with this. Oh man, a lot of people are gonna feel this because a lot of people use the Eruptor now. I personally think it's overhyped, but it's gonna be, it is what it is. Decreased number of maximum mags from 12 to 6. Explosion damage drops off slightly and faster. The Sickle, decreased amount of magazines from 6 down to 3. I don't think people really feel this that much because a lot of people don't use it all the way until they have to change the heat capsule. They pretty much know how to control how to use energy-based weapons like that. The Scythe. Oh, this might be a little bit better. Increasing damage from 300 to 350. I personally don't use the Scythe, but this might make a big difference. Decrease number of mags from 6 down to 4. Like I said, I don't think people are going to really, notice that, especially on energy-based weapons. The Railgun. Increase armor penetration in both safe mode and unsafe mode. I think they're trying to go ahead and bring the Railgun back to its former glory. We'll see how good it does against the armored enemies. We'll see. Maybe I'll test it out against some chargers today. The Heavy Machine Gun. Third-person crosshair enabled. I think that's very important because a lot of people like to use the Stalwart in third person, not in first person. But they didn't make any changes to the recoil of the Heavy Machine Gun. So to be honest, even if you put it at the slowest rate of fire, we'll have to see what happens. But, it might benefit, it might not. We'll see. The Diligence. Damage increased from 128 to 140. A lot of people, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like they've been like buffing the hell out of these long-range marksman rifles and snipers, which is pretty dope. And then the Diligence, damage increase from 112 to 125. Yeah, a lot of people want to run sniper loadouts, and it's good that they make these long-range weapons do their thing. The Redeemer, slightly increase in recoil. That's going to be a little bit annoying, but we'll be okay. The Peacemaker, increased damage from 60 to 75. I think this will be really good, especially against bots, because it's one of the weapons you can use with one hand. So it'd be really good to use a ballistic shield along with the Redeemer and the Peacemaker. The Senator, increased damage from 150 to 175. Speed loader added when reloading on an empty cylinder. Speeds up reload on empty considerably. The dagger, increased damage from 150 to 200. I think that's a big deal because a lot of people want to use the dagger, but it just wasn't all that great. So the machine gun sentry, increased health to match other sentries. That's going to be really good if a lot of people, especially a lot of beginning players who only have the machine gun sentry, they want to use it. And increasing the health on top of maxing out your ship modules, that's going to be cash. And then the Tesla Tower, I swear, I've spent maybe 2 weeks trying to make the Tesla Tower great again. And I maxed out my ship module. I swear, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. It's really good against bugs until, a charger gets a hold of it. But now that they're increasing the health by 33% on top of the ship module, I might be able to use it against bots, to be honest. I really want the Tesla Tower to be good against bots. That's all I ask. Please make the Tesla Tower great again so I can use it against automatons. The Airburst Rocket Launcher. This Airburst Rocket Launcher has been killing me for 2, 3, 4 days now. I can't stand this rocket launcher, to be honest. And a lot of people, I know what a lot of people say. They'll be like, oh, you just don't know how to use it right. No, I thought it was a sorry weapon and it's only good against bugs, which confirmed it is good against bugs. I'll have a video out about that later. But the Airburst Rocket Launcher will no longer detonate when shot near stratagems. That's a big deal because the proximity effect, there was a bug to where it would be triggered by anything, enemies, friendlies, anything. And the AoE is so huge on it that it would just take out everybody. And the proximity radius is smaller, which is really good. So that basically means like if you shoot it nearby anything, let's say especially enemies, it's only gonna detonate when it's near like your target. So as long as you shoot it in the right area, you're gonna be all right. Bouncing adjustments have been made to Biospewer and Nursing Spewers. Move speed slightly reduced. That's clutch. To be honest, I don't really need them to move slower. I need them to make a sound. Because the issue is that these motherfucking Biospewers and Nursing Spewers move in silence until they throw up. Hulks. Force required them to stagger slightly increased. That'll be good, especially for the Scorcher, which I really like. Speaking of Scorcher, the Hulk Scorcher direct flamethrower damage reduced by 20%. That's really good because when they buffed flame damage, they buffed the enemy flame damage too. So you die in 0.2 seconds. You don't even have enough time to stim, especially if you get knocked and then scorched by a Hulk. Devastator fire rate slightly increased, only for the standard Devastator. Honestly, that's fine. The issue with the normal Devastators is that their armor is crazy. So if you don't hit their shots right in the head, you're going to feel it every single time. Gunship sideways movement slightly increased. I don't really think that's going to be that much of an issue because if you're using something like the Quasar Cannon or the Eats, your shot's pretty much going to be dead on every single time. Scout Striders now less vulnerable to explosions. So that basically means like a lot of us already do. You're going to have to shoot it on the side or use grenades or something. It didn't say anything about the armor on the legs being any less armor because what is it, light armor on the legs, medium armor? I can't remember. But usually I use a Scorcher or grenades. So basically instead of doing 2 bullets anywhere on the Strider with the Scorcher, I may have to use 3 or 4. It is what it is. Scout Striders, yep. Fog Generator, health and armor increase. We'll see what's up with that. Gunship spawners now have a much lower cap on how many gunships they can have. Yeah, instead of on Helldive missions 4, 5, and 6 of them coming, hopefully, it's going to be 2 every, I would prefer 2 every 30 seconds. It gives you enough time to kill the 2 and then run up, call a hell bomb. Then you can kill the other 2 that come up within that 30 seconds, and then you can close out the gunship fabricator. Balancing adjustment on patrol spawning. I really don't have issues with patrols, but you know what? That might help a lot of people. Patrol spawning has been increased when there are fewer than 4 players. That might be an issue, but we'll find out. Minor level generation improvements to how we distribute locations throughout the mission map. We'll see. I love those maps where, sometimes they'll be all far away, but also on other times, all the optional objectives will be on one side of the map and you can rip them all out along with a bunch of fabricators, then go and do the primary objective. I'm personally not complaining about that. Added setting in the options menu gameplay section to disable automatic climbing and vaulting while sprinting. I think that's a big deal, and I'm definitely going to implement that because I hate when I walk towards I call a supply down I walk towards the supply, I try and grab a supply, and I mount the supply. I think those memes will finally start disappearing now that that option is in. The Spread Democracy mission, otherwise known as Raise the Flag, can now be enjoyed at higher difficulties. I think that that's going to be very fun because I did not know that mission existed until I started teaching my wife how to play the game, and we went on a trivial mission and we saw it, and I thought the concept was super cool. When readying up, Helldivers now salute to ensure maximum democratic readiness. That's cute. I mean, like, spread democracy. We love it. Added ambiance to the tremor planetary hazard to underline the severity so Helldivers can react accordingly. That's going to be interesting. When readying up, Helldivers now salute. Yep, we know that. Shots that ricochet from heavy armored enemies will now properly hit the Helldiver who fired them. Trigger discipline is highly recommended. We'll see. And obviously, I mean, here's a list here. I'm not going to read them all out, but there's a lot of crash fixes. I think they've been doing a great job fixing a lot of the crashes. I've maybe crashed once in the past 10 days playing the game. So bravo, I tip my hat off to Arrowhead because they're really hacking down on these crashes. Now, keep in mind, their first game, I think their max, they had like 40, 50,000 players playing the game. And now their second game, they all of a sudden got millions of players. You know, their servers just weren't ready for people across the world to hop on this game and play online all at the same time. Every time I check the game, there's a minimum 100,000 players playing. So, you know, just as long as we're patient with this Arrowhead team and, you know, they're working to develop, you know, that's all we can ask. And remember, guys, like, this game came out in February, you know, so there's still a lot of work to be done. Yeah, we'll go ahead and skip well, actually, let's talk about it. We talked about the fixes. Fix superior packing methodology. Oh god, I can't read today. Methodology ship module not working properly. Yeah, it wasn't working properly for me because when I uploaded that ship module, I was using the airburst launcher and I wanted the airburst launcher to completely refill my backpack. So hopefully it does it this time. Fix blast absorption ship model, got it. Fixed issues where players could not navigate to the search results in the social menu. Yeah, fix some issues where items equipped in the war bond were not actually equipped. Yeah, that was happening to me, especially in the beginning. Sometimes I would load up and I would have to stock weapons, so I'm glad that issue is fixed. Fix an exploit that allowed overly eager Helldivers to use grenades excessively. Toxic behavior. Fix issues that allow traders to try to sabotage the extraction shuttle by deploying sentry stratagems below it. Yeah, that's annoying. It's just right here is basically just a lot of bugs. I mean, I'm gonna keep these bugs inside the you know, inside here, and I'm gonna put them at the end of the video so everyone can just read them and go through it. Fix anti-material rifle facing away from the Helldiver after deploying it. Yeah, that's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Fix bugs where recoilless rifle would consume an extra shell. That was so annoying from the backpack if the reload was canceled just after a shell was inserted. They need to do that for every weapon because there's a few weapons that go through that same thing. Mines are now pingable for better coordination with your team. That's going to be clutch, especially when these anti-tank mines come out. We're definitely going to need that. Fix issues where automaton gunships sometimes could not see the player. I never really ran into that issue, but am I really complaining about it? Not really. Receiving friend requests now gives the player a pop-up. I need that, and I've been running into adding friend and removing friend issues, so hopefully they fixed all the friend issues and me and my friend can add each other and go crazy. Better support for ultra-wide monitors, blah blah blah. I play on a big old TV, so it doesn't matter that much with me. Disable the squad invites during the tutorial. We don't really care about that. Dead scavengers now stop screaming for help if killed while calling in reinforcements. That's a big deal too. Added reload stage for the spear reload after the spent missile has already been discarded. That's going to be a big deal too. And obviously there's a list here of known issues. I already listed off a few, you know, known issues that I have ran into in my time playing, but a few of them that I didn't even know. Enemies that bleed out do not progress personal orders and eradicate missions. Yeah, I'm assuming they're going to fix that. Arc weapons sometimes behave inconsistently. So it looks like they have a huge list of ones that they're working on. And I really appreciate that. Like, again, how I talked about earlier, you know, it's a big deal. And I hope that, you know, they're going to keep working and keep improving. As long as we're patient with Arrowhead, they're going to keep doing their thing. But yeah, I can't wait to play this new update. Let's go ahead and try out a few of these weapons, and maybe I'll switch my main. Maybe I'll switch my main support back to something else. You know, for now, I'm going to stick with the Eats, the recoilless rifle, and the Quasar cannon. If that 5-second interval is too much for me, then I might go ahead and switch and permanently go back to recoilless, or I might just suck it up and learn how to use the spear, you know. But at the end of the day, they didn't nerf the Plasma One Scorcher, and that's all I can ask for. But yeah, thanks for watching.